Shiloh Jolie in a same-sex relationship. From the very first seconds this news began circulating, the global public wasn't just intrigued by the name Shiloh Jolie, the first biological daughter of Hollywood icons Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, but also by the clash between societal expectations and the personal choices of a 19-year-old woman. A same-sex relationship is no longer uncommon in today's world, but when the person involved is the child of a feminist icon and an actor once dubbed the sexiest man alive, it's no longer just a matter of personal romance. It becomes the center of a much broader social conversation. First, let's be clear. This is not a scandal. And Shiloh Jolie-Pitt, now going by the stage name Jolie, is not a victim of fame or a product of a broken family as some conservative viewpoints hastily claim. She is the embodiment of a global legacy, a symbol born under the spotlight, and raised in the constant tug-of-war between personal privacy and relentless media curiosity. Shiloh was born in Namibia during one of her mother Angelina Jolie's humanitarian trips. A not-so-trivial detail, as it shows that from the moment she entered the world, she was already tied to values that go beyond the realm of entertainment. From a young age, Shiloh appeared in public with a tomboy look, short hair, gender-neutral clothing, and a calm gaze, an image completely at odds with the Hollywood princess stereotype. But what's noteworthy is that Angelina Jolie consistently emphasized that she never forced her children to conform to any gender norms or expectations. As early as 2010, Jolie stated, "I don't care if she wants to wear a dress or a suit. I care that she gets to be herself." That statement, over time, has evolved from a parenting philosophy to a declaration of personal freedom, especially within a U.S. society still fraught with debates around gender and identity. Now, with news confirmed by several media outlets, including intimate photos taken outside an apartment complex in Los Angeles of Shiloh dating female dancer Keoni Rose, public reaction has split into two distinct camps, one supportive, calling it a natural step in a progressive society, the other still clinging to outdated biases, blaming the environment, a divorced family, a lack of maternal control, or Hollywood's corrupting influence. But the truth is, we are living in an era where young people no longer wait for others to define them. They act, they live, and they love in their own way. Shiloh and Keoni Rose connected through dance, a wordless language that transcends gender and nationality. They trained together in the studio, performing hip-hop, tap, and contemporary styles, all requiring both strength and personal expression. Keoni is not just a dancer. She also plays drums, writes plays, and sings. Shiloh, under her chosen name Jolie, is gradually proving herself to be a real artist, without riding on her parents' fame. They didn't announce their relationship through media stunts or shocking statements. They simply live together, appear casually on the street, in cars side by side, just as any young couple should have the right to do. The real question isn't, why is Shiloh in a same-sex relationship? But rather, why is this still considered shocking to the public? When a young woman chooses to live honestly with her gender identity or sexual orientation, the public often reacts as if it's rebellion or deviance. That reveals the deep-rooted, unspoken bias many modern societies still haven't fully addressed. And for those born into famous families, the pressure is even greater, trapped in rigid expectations about image, career paths, and representational roles. But Shiloh Jolie is not a victim. She's a quiet trailblazer. No loud declarations, yet unmistakably clear in her choices. Her decision to drop the Pitt surname and keep only Jolie is also symbolic, an act of autonomy. In a divided family under constant public scrutiny due to Angelina and Brad's legal battles, Shiloh chose to stand with the mother who has always respected her freedom. It's not a condemnation, but a silent affirmation from a young woman who knows who she is and where she wants to go. Shiloh's fame since childhood has placed every move of hers under a microscope, but instead of following the typical path into acting or leveraging her name for instant stardom, she chose dance, a craft that demands daily effort and sweat. She doesn't appear on magazine covers with heavy makeup or grand interviews. She's quietly building an image, just as she always has, simple, strong, and without noise. Generation Z, of which Shiloh is a prime example, is redefining many long-held concepts: what it means to love, whether gender needs to be fixed, how a career begins, and most importantly, that identity no longer has to reflect society's expectations. In that context, a 19-year-old girl choosing to live with the person she loves, pursue art, and live boldly but without shouting, is itself an answer for a generation coming of age on its own terms. The real progress will come, not when the media keeps asking, is the former tomboy being negatively influenced? But when it begins asking, has society finally learned to accept people like Shiloh? Only then will we have truly moved forward. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt react unexpectedly to news of daughter Shiloh's same-sex relationship. This short headline alone was enough to make millions around the world pause, not just because of the two globally iconic names, but because of what lies beneath: how powerful parents respond to their child's choices in gender identity and love. But this isn't merely a family story. It reflects a larger social shift, one that is reshaping how we think about gender, parenting, and what true acceptance really means. Why did the reaction from Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, a divorced couple long separated, draw such attention? Perhaps because the child in question is no ordinary person. Shiloh Jolie-Pitt, now known as Jolie, is their first biological daughter, a symbol of fame even before she was born. She came into the world during one of Angelina's humanitarian trips to Africa, cradled in the arms of two people once called the most beautiful couple in the world. From the moment of her birth, Shiloh was never given the option of living a private life. Her existence became, by default, part of popular culture. When news broke of Shiloh dating a female dancer, Keoni Rose, along with a series of affectionate photos taken on the street, in a car, and particularly the detail that the two had been living together for weeks, what was the media's first move? They immediately turned to her parents, seemingly expecting a confirmation, a blessing, or at the very least, an emotional reaction. And what made people pause was this: there was no condemnation, no evasion, and certainly no confusion or discomfort about her not following societal norms. Both Angelina and Brad responded with calm and respect. In a world where same-sex relationships still fracture families, that reaction was anything but ordinary. Angelina has long been known for her approach to parenting that doesn't impose gender norms. She once shared that she lets her children choose their lifestyle, from hairstyle to clothing to personal interests. And these weren't just words, they were evident throughout Shiloh's upbringing. Since childhood, Shiloh dressed like a boy, appeared at red carpets beside her mother in tailored suits with short hair, and was never forced to feminize herself. Angelina never tried to change her to please the media or society. She let her child choose, and she stood firm against criticism to protect that choice. As for Brad Pitt, despite tensions with Angelina following their divorce, he has never publicly criticized his daughter's style or gender identity. That, in itself, is significant in an industry still holding on to subtle expectations about what the children of celebrities should look or act like. He may not have offered glowing praise or dramatic public statements, but Brad's quiet lack of judgment is meaningful. Silence, in this case, makes space for a child to live, to love, and to define herself. Shiloh's growth didn't unfold under the spotlight in the way many Hollywood kids experience it. She didn't debut in her mother's films or go viral on social media. Instead, she pursued dance, an art that requires real physical effort and honest expression. She and Keoni met in a dance studio, trained under professional choreographers, shared a passion, and eventually moved in together. It wasn't a media stunt. It was simply young love, lived quietly and authentically. What makes this story stand out is the intersection of three powerful elements: global fame, social evolution, and personal privacy. When a young queer person who happens to be the child of two international superstars chooses to live authentically, that choice, while completely normal, becomes a mirror for society to look at itself. Have we really grown more open to difference, or are we still measuring everything with outdated standards? Let's reverse the scenario for a moment. If Shiloh were just an ordinary teen, without the Jolie or Pitt name, not living under public scrutiny, would anyone care about who she loves? Probably not. But because she carries a global name, Shiloh is forced to live as a symbol, though she never asked to be one. And in that context, her parents' attitude becomes crucial. The support, or respectful silence from Angelina and Brad, isn't just a personal matter. It's a public statement about a child's right to be themselves and a parent's true role in today's world. These days, many parents say they support the LGBTQ+ community. But when their own child says, "I love someone of the same gender," the real reaction often reveals something deeper: fear, worry, or even denial. It's the clash between love and societal anxiety, the fear that their child will be judged, excluded, or disadvantaged. But real love means standing with your child, even when it defies social norms. And that's exactly what Angelina Jolie has done from the beginning. Shiloh, or now she Jolie, hasn't made any grand speeches, but when she dropped Pitt from her name at the age of 18 and chose to keep only Jolie, that quiet act carried enormous symbolic weight. It wasn't just about choosing a surname, it was about choosing the space where she felt accepted, respected, and truly seen. In a society where identity is so often shaped by external expectations, a young person saying, "I choose my own path," is a deeply courageous act. From this story, the public, especially parents, are called to reflect. Do we really understand what our children want? Are we willing to let go of old beliefs and enter their world, where gender is no longer a barrier and love needs no definition? Or are we still thinking, "I love my child, but only if they live the way I think is right"? Angelina and Brad, each in their own way, have answered, "I love my child because they are who they are, not because they resemble me, and not because they live to please me." And perhaps that's why Shiloh can step into the world as a confident young woman, pursue art, love who she loves, and live the life she chooses. This isn't just about a famous family. It's a lesson in real love, true freedom, and what it means to be a parent, not as an overseer, but as a companion. And in a world full of noise, a parent's quiet acceptance may be the strongest foundation a child could ever have. Shiloh is living proof of that.